It's Kirei here with another layout for Arden Creative Studio, and I'm using the fabulous Hidden Creek collection. For this layout, it's all about the layers. So I have pulled out the 8x8 paper pad, and this has 12 different designs in it, and you get two of each of the designs. So I've pulled out a mix of the ones that I thought would work for me, and I was just deciding that I'm going with one photo and just going to go with lots of layers using the different pattern papers. So I've picked out my photo and I've just mounted that on a fairly sort of solid green, and then I'm building up patterned layers behind it. You can see that I'm doing what I'm doing here. So I pulled out things that I just thought really worked well together. I've got this sort of, I like the chocolate brown with the spot, just to add a bit of differentiation. And then I've got the others with the similar sort of, I guess you've got the sort of the greens and the tealy tones that mix in. Then I've got the script type paper with the images of plants and things like that on it. So that's in sort of almost a vintagey look. And then this soft, creamy, beigey tone spotted one that I'm just going to add in. So it's really just getting the balance right between heavily patterned and then things that sort of balance it between the layers so that you still see the different layers. Now this one here that I've got on the left, it doesn't work, and I didn't use that one. So yeah, so I did use 8 pattern papers. Here we go. Here's the final, what it finally looks like after I'd sort of played around with it a bit. I distressed all the edges of every layer and really curved them. I tore some of the edges, and I really, really love the texture and the dimension that gives me. It's something I really do a lot on, on my layouts. You rarely find a non-distressed edge on my layout. So yeah. Okay, so what I did there, and then I've just drawn roughly around where that's going to sit on the white cardstock, and I've brought in this coordinating stencil from the Hidden Creek collection. It's called Timeless Quatrefoil, and one of the papers has the quatrefoils on it as well, actually, so it just sort of links to that. And I decided I wanted to go with a little bit of a pop of slight contrast here, so I've gone with Distress Oxide in Scattered Straw, and I'm just adding a little bit around the edges. Now, top tip here, it's a very fine stencil. I probably would have been better using a brush to add the ink, but also I had to keep going back over it because I wanted to add a little bit more, and it was quite hard to look and work out where I needed to sort of match it up. So probably top tip here is to say, really work out how much you want to add and don't move the stencil until you're happy with it. Just lift the stencil up, look and think, okay, do I need to add a bit more? Okay, so we've got all of that done. And then the fun part, I love adding the embellishments. So I've pulled out elements from the ephemera pack, and I'm just sort of working out where they're going to go. I'm sort of dotting them on here. And this is really what I tend to do at the beginning of a layout, is sort of figure it all out. And then I sort of come back and start. And then I can, I take a photo, and then I can move everything off, and then I can start to sort of build it up. So I'm just using this frame here. I've just cut off the edge, that sort of quarter edge that I don't need. And then I've pulled in some floral elements in the sort of deeper tealy blues, and of course some of the leaf branches as well. And I'm going to create the cluster down there on that bottom left, and then the cluster up to on the top right as well. And I've got some elements there that say delight in life with friends, which I thought worked really nicely together because this is a photo of me in Australia last year when I went back home to visit my parents. And this is my lovely friend Sharon and her daughter Rachel. I have known Sharon for just trying to work, over 40 years, actually. We met just after I left school, and we traveled. We did Europe together, and yeah, I was her bridesmaid, and yeah, so we've done life together. And even though we don't see each other that much, obviously because she's in Australia and I'm here in the UK, whenever we catch up, it just feels like, we haven't been apart. So we always, take time to go down to see Sharon. And yeah, we have a lovely time with her and Trevor. And it was really nice that Rachel was able to come down from Sydney as well. So we were down here in Kiama, which is on the coast south of Sydney, and just having a lovely time for a few days. So yeah. So I just wanted to document that memory that I have from our trip back home. So, yes. Okay, so I've got everything stuck down. What you'll see when I stick things down, I do curve up the edges. I don't stick anything down really flat because, again, like the layered papers, it gives me that dimension that I love. I've pulled out a title here called Wander and Wonder. And then I've got some of the rub-ons here and I'm just having a look. I'm just getting a tiny little bit. It's just a little bit of script rub-on that I'm going to add on in a couple of places around my layers. Um, and then, the layout, once that's in, there's not too much left to do actually. So this was a reasonably quick layout for me, amazingly, because I am such a slow scrapbooker. I just wish I could pull a layout to get, all my layouts together really quite quickly, but it doesn't work like that. I'm too particular and I fiddle around and faff and, move things around a lot just to make sure it is in the right spot. Okay, so we've got the enamel dots here. And again, I'm adding just a few little pops of yellow to tie into the stenciling that I did on the background. Yeah, so just adding those to each of my clusters. And then I can get my title on. And then and then I think that's pretty much that's everything I think I added. Title here, I am of course raising it on foam pads, so I'm just cutting my foam sheet into the size strips that I need. I find that is just really, really convenient versus just using little foams, square foam pads. I just like to be able to have pieces of sticky back foam that I can cut up into whatever size and shape that I need. Just works really, really well for me. So yeah. So you can get really tiny, thin pieces of foam, which is perfect. Okay, so Wander and Wonder, still just working out where that's going to go. And what have I got left to do? Decisions. Ah, the laser cuts. Okay, I did use some of those already, those teal flowers at the top. I'm just looking for a little bit more pop of yellow, and I've got these butterflies, so I'm just deciding on adding those. I think I go for another yellow. That's right. So I've got the softer yellow and then the deeper yellow. So I use one at the top and one at the bottom. As you can see, lots of moving around until I'm happy. Um, I wish I just could place it down and think, that's perfect, great, stick it down. No, but that's okay. That's fine. That's the way I work. Okay, I started by sticking it here and then went, oh no, I don't think I want it there. Quick rub of the glue, get rid of that, and then I'm going to stick it over the floral cluster there. And again, you can see I'm just sticking the butterflies down the center so that the wings get lifted up again, gives me that nice dimension. Right, I finally I've decided I can actually stick the title down and then I will add my journaling just below that. And that is the final layout. Here is the close-up photos of all those lovely ephemera and laser cuts and lovely details from the Hidden Creek collection. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.